Okay. Now we do the clap thing,
Okay,
or
so 3, 2,
2,
1.
1.
All right, we need to do that.
Okay.
Make sure it actually syncs up.
Okay.
Okay, so 3, 2,
2,
1.
1.
That should be good. Or actually, did it match up for you or?
Not really.
Okay, so do you want to do it again?
Yeah.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
1. No, I didn't match up at all. How can we match up? Okay, let's just do a countdown together. So, like having the same rhythm of the countdown. Let's count 1 to 10. So then we can if someone goes earlier or slower, we can match up at a certain point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That was pretty okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So
okay.
So now we just have an easy way to sync up for later.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't need to really listen to the entire thing to make sure everything's just perfect.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's I've been watching. Have you ever played there's a channel called Civilization, and they play Civilization 5. Have you heard of it?
I haven't heard the channel, no.
Yeah, but they I think there are 4 players on Civilization 5, and they play games. But I believe it would be super hard to get the record of 5 different people from different computers.
Yeah, I think at that point they just use the Steam and just record the Steam audio.
Oh yeah, they're just okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Too easy.
At that point they don't care about quality. Okay. Do you want to do the introduction or should I?
Alright, go ahead.
We haven't come up with a name yet, right?
Are we the assembly or the council?
The what?
Are we the assembly or the council?
I think it was the council or something like that, or
the council. Well, we can still change it at any time.
We can just not say it and just come up with the name later.
Good idea.
Okay, so I'm gonna do the intro.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of our new podcast. I am Matthew.
And I'm Francisco.
And we're going to start talking about stuff.
Yeah, anything we can come up, we'll sure to add it to the podcast.
Yeah. So, do you want to go back to this article?
We can start with one of your subjects.
Yeah. So, which subject do you want to start with?
Choose anything you like.
Do you want to talk about the Bitcoin thing?
Sure.
Okay.
So, we were about the Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So, you can present your ideas. Let's begin.
Yeah. So, hold on. What's the current price? Let me look at that.
Good idea.
Let me get the USD so I can actually, people viewing will have something easy to know.
Yeah. And we have to make sure to state which date is it today.
Today's the 20th of December.
2017, guys.
Yeah.
Never forget.
Okay, so today's the 20th of December, and it's currently at just under $17,000 a coin.
Oh my god.
It peaked at just under 20,000.
Yeah.
I think the peak I can see here is 19,856.
Wait, are you looking at US dollars?
Yes, I'm looking at US dollars right now.
Okay.
And then, because I'm using Coinbase right now, which is a website to buy and sell it.
Mm-hmm.
And
for the Bitcoin, it's something we still don't exactly know for sure officially who created it and for what intentions.
Well, it's Satoshi, the guy.
Yeah, well, it's rumored to be him, but officially he didn't state it that it's him.
Okay. Because right now, the biggest news so far is that there's something called Bitcoin Cash, which is another form of Bitcoin, which is another coin. In the last,
do you actually know that there's the Doge coin?
Yes, there's hundreds of different coins.
Okay, so
as I was saying, Bitcoin Cash in the last 24 hours had an 80% gain.
Oh my god!
So it went from roughly 2,400 to now it's at 4,300. It's now the current price.
Wow.
Yep.
I wish I knew that.
Yeah.
But it's something dangerous, like putting your money on that.
Oh
Like,
yeah, it's light
for
gambling.
example, a good example of that is like Facebook, when it was put in the market. They put the pricing at $32, and almost immediately it dropped to $20.
Yep.
And today it's at $100, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Let me just check. Yeah, today it's $178.
Yes. So it was really dangerous at first, but stabilized, and now it's grown quite a bit.
Yeah, I actually put my money in the stocks too.
Yeah.
Like all my money from the summer. I figure out like it's just sitting there. I'm just gonna try my luck, and it's currently going kind of okay.
Yeah.
I invested on Alibaba, a huge company in China.
Oh yeah, Alibaba is a company I've been hearing a lot about recently because they're just
hmm
massive. Like they're the company you
It's
don't
like
hear about.
Google. Yeah, it's like Google and Amazon at the same time, and with ideas from Walmart.
Yeah, it's this weirdly giant company that here in the West we like never hear about.
hmm And its name is like it doesn't sound Chinese to it's just weird.
Yeah, it's Middle Eastern, right? So it's from the
hmm
1001 Arabian Tales, something like that.
Yeah, I actually almost make the joke to my friends. Yeah, I invested there because there was a nice song about it. All right,
Wait, was
so
Alibaba the guy who said "Open Sesame"?
um, the bird, the yellow bird.
No, not the Looney Tune, not Tweety
Ah,
Bird.
oh,
I
no,
mean
no, no. I
from the
was thinking.
1001 Arabian Nights or Arabian Tales or whatever it's called.
Hmm, I think you're right.
Hold on, I'm looking this up.
You won't be able to live your life if you don't know it.
Yeah. Yeah, 1001 Arabian Nights. It was a story written in the 18th century, so it's not as old as we think it is.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah. Yeah, this is him. He was the one who said "Open Sesame."
The one who started it all.
Yep.
Okay, so going back to the Bitcoin, it is something like today's society needs, like a currency of the internet. It's not something like even if you wanted to, like you can make it disappear because it's gonna happen and otherwise in the deep web. But it's like something like it might be dangerous because it can be used to wash money. I think I don't know exactly about the subject, but like it's money that can appear and disappear from anywhere.
Yeah, it's not traceable, which means that
hmm
it has been primary currency used by criminals in the past because the government can't really trace it.
Exactly. Plus, they're already installing ATMs of Bitcoin. I think there's four of them in Montreal.
Is there really? I
I
did
think
not
so.
know
Let
that.
me just Google that. ATM Bitcoin. Wow, there's actually more than four. Let me just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I would say there's around 20. Yeah,
Yeah,
and a
which
few of them
is
are in downtown.
are they all Bitcoin ATMs or for other cryptocurrencies?
No, no, it says Bitcoin.
Okay.
Yep. Wait, not all of them. Okay, let's just rough estimate. There's like about 15 of them there, Bitcoin.
Okay.
And actually, a few of them are Bitcoin, and then it says Deutsche Bank. Okay,
Okay. That's interesting.
I guess just like weird.
Dogecoin is the literally largest cryptocurrency according to the site.
No, not Dogecoin. Deutschland, I mean, like Deutschland Bank,
Oh,
and then
okay.
it says Bitcoin.
Okay,
So I
that makes more
guess
sense.
that specific bank also give Bitcoin.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
But it might just be a bubble too.
Oh, absolutely. There's definitely a possibility.
Things just not going to go up indefinitely. Like
Yeah.
remember like the housing crisis? There were houses, normal houses that were sold almost $1 million in the height of 2008.
Yeah, there's also a problem of just I'm looking at this list. It
Mhm.
says view next to 100 and this is a list of cryptocurrencies.
Mhm.
I'm not sure how many there are, but there are more than 100 different cryptocurrencies. A whole bunch of
Those
these
are the
are.
official ones too.
Yeah,
How many are they in the deep web?
this is Coin Market Cap, which is a website that looks at all the cryptocurrencies.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's see how many are there. View all. It's still shrinking, the little thing on the right. Hold on. There are 1,368 different cryptocurrencies.
So you cannot really attack Bitcoin. Someone else will take its place.
Yeah, like Ethereum. Full disclosure, I have a little bit of money in Ethereum.
Mm-hmm.
And a little bit in Litecoin, but I knew they were going to grow, and I've more than doubled my money since I put them in.
Damn, man.
Yeah, but basically these are the big ones right now. The big ones are right now Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Ripple, and Litecoin.
Oh.
Those are the big...
I only knew about Ethereum and Bitcoin, actually.
Yes. Litecoin has been growing big recently because it's getting a lot of coverage on the news.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember about a week ago now, it grew by like 90% in one day.
Wow.
And the current price of a coin is $322. It's $322. So it grew from like 150 to 300 in one day. Either way, right now, even though they want to be a currency, they scream like penny stocks to me right now, Bitcoin and all the other cryptocurrencies. Mm-hmm. Right now, they seem like people are investing in them rather than using them as a currency.
Yeah, because it's currencies. We already have all the currencies we need. Plus, the dollar is the world currency, like unofficially.
The what?
And
sorry, I didn't hear.
The dollar.
Oh,
the
yeah,
US dollar.
Yes.
It's something like you can use almost all the world. But the Bitcoin, like you show up at Walmart tomorrow with Bitcoin, it's like just gonna like go away.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just really a way to make more money. And I think it's just a bubble that's maybe it's gonna burst tomorrow. Maybe it's gonna burst in 20 years, but it's gonna burst because you're just moving air.
Yeah, I think at some point there's gonna be one official, or one maybe 5 total of maybe around the world. They use different ones, but there might be a couple official ones that are used. Mm-hmm. But the fact that there are almost 1,400 different cryptocurrencies, this is not sustainable.
Yeah, for sure. None of them have a like stable background.
Yes, I forget what it's called, but the way they measure things is almost like a spreadsheet where there's a bunch of different codes, and you have your account number, and it, you use that account number to tell how many bitcoins there are. Like some of them are more secure than others. Like Ethereum is known for being fairly secure, but Bitcoin itself is pretty much the worst cryptocurrency out there in terms of everything. It was just
one of the first who caught up.
Yeah,
in the
it was
popularity.
They had a first mover's advantage, as people are calling it.
Yeah.
They basically are the slowest to transact. They have the highest fees for transactions. They're the least secure. It's one of those things where...
Maximizing income. That's what they're doing.
It's more that they were the first, and because of that, they're like a dinosaur in this space. And like a lot of the things that a lot of the other coins take for advantage of did not exist when Bitcoin started.
Yeah,
Which makes me think that Bitcoin is not going to be very sustainable in the long run. Maybe a couple of the other ones are, but not Bitcoin.
And it can drop at any moment. I think it was on Monday that it dropped from $1,000.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But it's regained its drop in less than a day, though.
It's a very volatile market right now.
Yeah.
Especially with all the new influx of money, because markets are now officially recognizing cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, a few of them are actually doing that.
You can now short Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Which is insane to me.
It's weird in macroeconomics a little bit because the more you print money, the less valuable it is. But I think Bitcoin is kind of printing infinite money and it's still going up.
It's not really printing it. The way you print cryptocurrency, say, is through mining it, which is...
Yeah, I actually don't understand that thing. It's like, are you like, by mining it, you're like giving a server to like Bitcoin, something like that?
Well, the best way to do is with GPU, or when Bitcoin, especially the ASIS stuff. Basically, you're giving your computer's processing power to Bitcoin itself, and then basically you're mining different... I'm not entirely sure how this works, but you're mining nodes, and what this does is it strengthens Bitcoin. So it makes it more secure and everything. So what ends up happening is you get rewarded with a small amount of Bitcoin in return, but the more people doing it, the less you get for the amount of nodes you mine.
Okay, that's the part I didn't understand because I've seen people that are actually like building supercomputers kind of in their basement to mine more Bitcoin.
Especially with Bitcoin, where there's no real protection. Basically, ASIS machines end up being used for the bulk of the mining. So what this means is, if you want to mine Bitcoins at any efficient rate, you need to buy $10,000 worth of machinery and use that to mine. Which obviously means it's going to be giant oligarchs controlling the majority of the Bitcoin For Ethereum and a couple of other currencies, it's a little better, where they don't allow the ACES stuff. That means it's more fair in the mining.
That's interesting.
But again, Bitcoin just happens to be in the worst of everything. Like, of all the crypto, it's an old dinosaur that's only has its price because of its first mover's advantage.
Exactly. It's so big compared to the others.
But there's also a problem I've been looking, or I haven't looked into, but I've heard about the amount of electricity a lot of this mining and stuff has cost.
Yeah.
Apparently it's an ungodly amount of the world's electricity is just used for mining and transactions of the different cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, because actually supercomputers are servers are extremely... Well, it's not really a computer that takes a lot of electricity, but it's really the cooling process that it's difficult part to manage on servers.
Yeah.
For example, I've heard they want to invest in northern Canada and northern Russia to build server centers because the cooling process will be much cheaper.
Yeah.
Like, imagine people who don't know much in computers in the north, maybe there's 20 people specialized in a small town. They will need 500 people specialized in that. They're ready to give them the education and everything, build infrastructure for, just because the cooling thing will be a little bit cheaper. So the expenses of cooling in the south are really too high.
Yeah, so as it goes now, it doesn't look like anytime soon these are going to be widely accepted. Maybe in a decade or two, and after there's been a lot of natural death of these. Because again, there's almost 1,400.
Yeah, it needs to be a little bit of natural selections of those cryptocurrencies. Some of them have to survive, but only the strongest can keep it up.
Yeah, so after that there might be 5 that are used in different parts of the world, max. But there's not going to be this many that are used. They might still technically exist, but they won't be widely used.
I actually heard that a few micronations in the Pacific want to be able to use those cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
So they'll actually be backed by actual countries. Sure, it's micronations, not even city-states, but countries will start using it by then.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe it's going to be a golden age of prosperity, or maybe it's going to be a huge crisis, an economic crisis, just who's going to destroy a lot of wealth. Who knows?
Yep, because there's already billionaires from people who are early investors in bitcoins.
Like, just imagine you have 1,000 bitcoins. At this current pricing, you have a lot of money.
Oh yeah, 1,000 bitcoins would be 17 million. Is that the correct?
Exactly. You have 17 billions, and it was created back in 2013, I think?
No, it was around earlier than that. Definitely.
Seriously?
2013, it hit 1,000. It hit 1,000.
Oh.
It had to be. Yeah, right here it says May 2013. It was at price $113. So no. Oh, here it is. 14 is when it hit 1,000.
Yeah, I remember have heard about it, but not in 2014. Back in 2015, that I think is the first time I heard about it.
It must.
And it seemed like, this is just madness. It's just gonna fall by itself. But I think I was $14,000 wrong.
Yes. Either way, especially since most of this growth has just been last year. Literally, in May, it was at $1,000. And it lasts literally 6 months. It grew
6 months.
It grew by
exponential work.
15x growth.
Wow.
Not sustainable at all.
Yeah. Remember, one of the first crises made in stocks were the tulips market in the Dutchland, in Holland actually. It was said that if you bought a tulip, you could have bought 3 ships with that same tulip. And just in one day, the market crashed, and all that wealth was destroyed. Unbelievable, right?
Yeah, that seems like a good place to end on. Just keep in mind, anyone who invests in this is basically like light gambling. Which, granted, most stocks are, but this seems like a little more extreme version of that.
Yeah, because there's no regulation on it.
Yeah, and when the regulation does come, you know everything's going to drop. It might recover, but it'll have an initial drop.
Or even if it drops, it's just gonna be abandoned to another cryptocurrency. As you said, there's more than 1,000 of them.
Okay, do you want to pick your next subject?
Alright, so I can present my idea. So basically, the idea I'm presenting here, it has pros and cons, but Just imagine, like, every time an elected representative is given the power, it has a stable income. However, what if the people who elect him has the right to choose its salary? But this needs to be presented in a careful manner. For example, if a new person is elected, it will have its normal salary that is like already chosen for. However, if it's a re-election, in the moment of the re-election, we can see if people vote to yes, he did a good job, there should be a 10% increase in his salary of his mandate, or it should be a drop of 10% of his salary. One of the problems of democracy is people are not necessarily voting for the person they like, but are sometimes only voting, oh, at least it's not this party, so I'm voting for him. So this is a clear way to show if people are actually voting for him because they like him, or they're voting for him but at the same time they don't like him. So this will make a way to show the representative if he is welcomed by the community by a large manner.
Wait, so could you simplify that?
Yeah.
Just so it
Okay.
makes a little more sense.
The idea here is when a representative is re-elected, there's a second vote for that person. Well, at the same time, you're voting for which person, and if
Is this an idea you're proposing?
sorry,
This an idea you're
yeah, it's
proposing?
just up for debate. It's probably never gonna happen, but it's just an idea, just to talk about it. What if someone is up for re-election for municipal or parliamentary elections? What if is that person who is re-elected? We have the right to choose if there should be a 10% increase or a decrease of 10% of his salary for the duration of his mandate.
So basically, what you're saying is you want a second vote for if someone should have a raise or a demotion for their
Yeah, like during
when they're
the
elected.
actual elections, when you go to vote, you vote the person you would like to see as your representative. And if that person is in a re-election, for example, it's his second, third, fourth mandate, whatever, during that vote you're doing, there's a second piece of paper for those people who are actually being re-elections. And it's just, should that person have a 10% increase or a 10% decrease or none of the above?
Hmm.
So that idea is just saying, making sure if people are satisfied with their representatives, a 10% increase or decrease is not a lot. It's not going to change your life. It can, like, it's information to, okay, I was re-elected by 80% of the people, but most of them also voted for a 10% decrease of my salary. What does that mean for me? They want me to be elected, but they don't feel I'm doing a good job, right?
The way of doing this seems a little
Mm-hmm.
weird, but I can understand the
Yeah.
points since technically, if you're elected official, your bosses
Mm-hmm.
are the people who elected you.
It's really just a way to show if people are really satisfied with your current work. For example, sometimes you're caught between voting for this party or that party, but you're not always
Yeah,
wanting to vote for them. For example, in Quebec, you only have to vote either for the Quebec's party, the Parti Québécois, or the Liberal Party.
yeah.
And they're
Which, by the way, for anyone listening, is not actually a
yeah.
liberal party.
So,
They call themselves Liberal Party, but they're actually a
yeah,
conservative party.
but the problem is, if you don't want a Quebec independent, you're never gonna vote for the Quebec's party, Parti Québécois. So you're only left with the Liberal Party as an option.
Yes.
So every time that party gets re-elected, it gets the impression they have a clear support of the population. But what if that party gets re-elected and every single one of their deputies and prime minister get a 10% decrease of their salary? That really shows publicly people are voting for you but are not really satisfied with your options.
But the problem is, will this reset when a new person gets elected? Like, is there a base salary?
I think uh, it should reset when a new person is elected, because it's a new person, you don't know him. It should like be a standard salary. For example, let's say $80,000 is a standard salary. All right,
Which I get the feelings.
and
I get the feelings a lot of politicians make a lot more in that.
yeah, a lot more. And one thing I can really see is not justified is that the politicians choose their own price, like to choose their own salary. At any given time, they can vote an increase of their salary.
Yes, but usually won't take effect till next term.
Yeah, but you're choosing your own salary. What if factory workers chose their own salary? That would be like madness.
Yes. Everyone will just give themselves a raise every year.
Mm-hmm. And I know it's not really true, but they keep saying, "Oh, our real bosses are the populations." Well, we don't act like it.
No.
One of the problems of this proposal is a person who gets reelected but gets 10% decrease up to a certain point. This might increase corruption by a lot. I don't. It's just an estimation, but if a deputy gets reelected and people keep voting 10% decrease, he won't have many options left other than corruption. And for public officials, corruption is an easy way to make a lot of money.
Yeah, it definitely is a easy way to make a lot of money in most professions, actually.
Yeah, I'm currently studying for urban planning, but the construction industry, I know it's gonna be almost disgusting to know all that corruption.
Oh, especially in Montreal.
Yeah,
The mafia controls the construction industry.
yeah, it's actually pretty sad.
Yeah.
But also another con about it is less people gonna be willing to take a chance in politics, because a person might present itself in politics, but the reason why we give salaries to individuals like the deputies is to make sure they have a stable income to practice that job. And not so long ago, almost 100 years ago, for example, in New York, if you wanted to be elected as mayor of New York, if I remember correctly, you really don't have a salary. You were a public official, but you were not paid. So that meant there was no cost for the municipality to run its mayor, to have an administration. But only the rich could obtain it because they didn't have a salary.
Yeah, that's always bad because it just minimizes who's allowed to run.
So, for example, someone from the lower classes or middle class wants to be elected, and they know, am I going to get to the end of the month with that salary? It's not really increasing its chances to launch itself in politics, and might promote corrupt officials who already have a lot of money and experience to keep themselves in power.
Yeah.
So there's our pros and cons of those ideas, but I think it's something that should be in the public opinion mind. Should the people be responsible of the salaries of their public
Yeah,
officials?
that is the true thing because I know a lot of people really don't like their politicians of either side.
Hmm.
Especially since
Yeah.
most places only have two different political sides to choose from, and there
Hmm.
aren't a wide-ranging amount of candidates running that have a chance of actually
Hmm.
winning.
Hmm.
There should be more ways to hold your.
A quick example from my home country, Peru. Every single election, the newspapers and the people, everyone is saying the same thing. We either have to choose for AIDS or cancer. It's actually really sad because they know every single person who's presented themselves is corrupt. It's just saying I'm corrupt and I'm saying I'm from the left, and the other guy is saying I'm corrupt, but I'm corrupt from the right.
Yes.
It's actually really sad to see that. Maybe I have a biased opinion, but at least for the federal elections in Canada, I really love them because I like certain parties more. But sincerely, I don't really get angry or sad if any of those parties wins. In my opinion, just maybe not the best opinions, but if it's the conservatives or the liberals or the NPD who wins, I'm actually really happy because I know every single one of those parties will do a great job.
Yeah.
Maybe
Like
some more than
for
others.
the perfect example, this is Harper. People talked about him
Yeah.
like he was some huge conservative, but especially
Hmm.
economically, he was very liberal. He was
Yeah, exactly.
in Canada with very
Like
mild political ideologies. Like
there's no the thing is there's no extremism
yeah,
in Canada. Like the conservatives are nowhere as near as Republicans in
yeah.
the United
They've
States,
moved a little bit more
or
right
even the
recently, but they're still
yeah.
not nearly as far as the Republicans.
It was. during the conservative government, they actually put medicinal marijuana, just to give an example.
Yeah.
So they're not like completely biased on the conservatives' opinion. They're actually like going to find a solution, even though if it's against conservatives' ideas. Sure, they have their limits. For example, I completely hated the purchase of military planes, but what do you expect from conservatives, right?
Yeah. But again, on the Harper, he was an economic Keynesian. So he very much was not the libertarian type.
I actually believe that Canada didn't suffer too much from the recession thanks to economics minister Jim Flaherty.
Yeah.
I believe he was one of the greatest economists in the world.
I'll need to look into him, but which is funny because you know more about him than me, and I'm the poli-sci major.
But I know a little bit more on like specific subjects.
Oh.
Like, just ask me the name of another minister of Harper era, and I won't be able to give you any names.
The one who bought the $8 orange juice or whatever it was. That was the most, like, that's the type of outrage we get in Canada. Just someone buys a $8 orange juice on a Canadian taxpayer's dime, and everyone freaks out.
I remember looking at what was the name of this? There's a YouTube channel. Last week tonight, I think.
The John Oliver.
John Oliver, yeah, and he basically did a segment saying Canada made a major breakthrough on corruption in federal.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
Federal levels, and it costed about $13 million to do that inquiry. Nevertheless, they only found out that $3 million were stolen.
Yes.
So the inquiry was much more expensive than looking at how much money were like misused from the federal government.
Yes. Yeah, Canada does not have a serious problem with people. I'm trying to find the word. Canada has a lot of people very proud to be Canadian. So you get a lot of people not wanting to be corrupt because of it.
Yeah, exactly. And something, for example, I didn't like during the conservative era is the prime minister made sure to put conservative people in the Supreme Justice. Yeah, into Supreme Court to make sure they'll be able to vote on conservative laws without the Supreme Court like saying no, this is not constitutional.
Yes.
But those same conservative judges voted down most of some of the conservative policies during the Harper era. Yeah. So even though those people were conservative personally, they took at heart the Canadian Constitution.
Yes, even though
if they knew,
and this is just important because the Canadian Constitution is very new. It was only written in the 80s.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think it was written not in the 80s, but it was brought back from Britain. The Canadian Constitution.
Well, Britain doesn't have a constitution. They are
no, but the Canadian Constitution was signed in Britain and was left there, and then it was brought from Britain to Canada.
I don't know.
That was really weird.
I don't know what you mean by that, because
I think I misread an article. Let me just Google that quickly.
Okay, because I know Trudeau Senior, not the current one. Trudeau Senior, which is our current Prime Minister's father, wrote the Constitution in the 1980s. Because before then, our Constitution was basically just an explanation of how our elections and government's supposed to work.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, they added the Charter of Rights, which made our Constitution more similar to the American Constitution, just with changes.
The American Constitution is actually a really good constitution.
Yeah.
If you take it from if you read it from someone written down from the 1776.
Yeah.
It's extremely progressive.
Yeah, it was a lot of very liberal values back then.
Mm-hmm. But it's still amazing.
Yeah. Did you find the article?
I think I was completely wrong about what I said on the Constitution by doing a quick research, so don't trust me on anything on politics. I'm not doing a major in politics. I'm doing urban planning studies, so ask me anything on transportation. please?
Yeah, just ask him where the perfect place to put a plant is.
I actually want to major on transport, like doing
okay, sure.
which types of transportation is more efficient in which neighborhoods.
So should you put flower beds next to the highway?
Well, I believe if we cut 3 lanes from the highway and put more flowers, that would be better. Add more buses. Yeah, I'm against cars too. So.
Yes. Yeah. Because
personal biases. I have to admit that.
Yes, because cars are just the least efficient way of transporting people.
I'll let you know that they're extremely comfortable. You don't have to smell the armpits of other people while you're in your car.
Yeah.
It's sweaty people are not next to you.
Yeah.
Weird people don't talk to you.
Yeah.
Except if your family is weird.
Yeah, and you don't have random people trying to convert you to their religion like I once had on the bus.
It happened to me in the metro. A girl was like, "Praise Jesus," and started talking to me. I had my headphones. For politeness, I took them out, but she talked for me for half an hour about Jesus.
Yeah.
Not thinking that I have something bad against Jesus, but I was not expecting that.
Yeah. I once had this guy who started talking to me about books, then suddenly transitioned into, "Hey, did you hear about the good word?" or something like that. I don't even know what he was talking about.
And the worst part, when you're in the new metros of Montreal, you cannot even change wagons because there's only one big wagon.
Which I like. It's just a little annoying when that happens.
Yeah. Like, you can go away, but he can still reach you no matter what.
Just wait for the next metro car.
Yeah, but still. So yeah, that's basically the Canadian politics.
Yeah.
There's no big reform that is needed. Maybe little policies that more debates about how it's done.
Yeah.
But really, coming from Peru, and after I study a little bit from my heritage and study how the Peruvian politics works, it really makes me sad that we might never get to this point to have like a democracy that works so well.
Yeah.
In paper, the Peruvian politics, it's extremely democratic. I will even say that Peruvian democracy, well, Peru is more democratic than Canada, than a constitutional monarchy. However, the way the democracy is run in Peru, it's extremely unjust and doesn't serve the interests of the people. It's mostly an oligarchy that is always a political elite that runs the country. The same leaders, the same deputies, the right, the left, that controls the economy. And there's nothing big the country can do, as public demonstrations are authorized but sometimes end up in violence. Not really sometimes because you have the police, but most of it because poverty. As for example, when there's a huge demonstration, it ends up in looting almost immediately.
Yeah.
Something like never happens in Canada, except when
the Habs win.
Hockey players wins.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really something like we democracies are. We have to admit.
I think the worst we have here in Canada is that politicians will make a promise, then time the promise just so that it will not take effect until after they're reelected.
Yep.
So that way you know that if you don't reelect me, that promise won't come true.
Yeah.
Like what Trudeau's doing right now with marijuana.
Yeah. Or also, they're gonna wait the very last second to decrease taxes on the middle class.
Oh yeah, like what the Quebec government's doing right now.
Yeah, they're gonna make sure they decrease the taxes before the re-election, so they have a higher popularity.
Yep.
And they promise that from day one, in the election time.
Yep.
Also, like, what I sometimes don't like is politicians sometimes promise the moon. Like, they're really making over exaggerated statements. For example, after the municipal elections in Montreal, Valérie Laplante said that day one, I'm gonna purchase 300 buses.
That's
okay.
Where's the money coming from?
Yeah, but it's like, okay, I'm pretty sure you're gonna purchase 300 buses during your term. But don't say day one. It just feels you're gonna lie, and believe it or not, day one she didn't do it.
Of course. Like, the company was just said that we don't have 300 buses to sell you right now. Could you come back in a year?
Yeah, for sure. You have to train workers. You need to make sure to have the infrastructure for it. Just don't you can say, and it's still gonna have a good impact. I'm gonna purchase 300 buses during my term. That's not a lie. That's just a fact they're gonna do. Everybody knows it that she's pro public transportation,
Yeah, and
and she's gonna
Montreal
do
does
it.
need the extra buses.
But just lying says a lot of someone. If she's gonna lie during the elections on useless stuff, she's gonna lie on important stuff too.
Yeah. And she really didn't need to do that. Like, her opposition pissed off the public enough that she won by quite a large amount.
Well, she didn't win by that much.
Wait, how much did she win by?
I think she won by 2%.
Oh, really? Oh, I thought it was.
I have to verify that.
I thought it was like 10%, but I could be wrong there.
Let me see. Montreal elections results. Okay, so I'm gonna want in percentage. These articles are so long if you only want one part.
Yeah.
And there's so many ads. Oh yeah, I turned off my ad block. Damn it.
I like how that went to screw you.
I don't have the percentage, but she won with 243,000 votes, and Denis Coderre had 211,000 votes.
That seems more than 2%.
Yeah.
That seems like I was almost right.
Yeah. Just one.
Here it is. I found Wikipedia. She won by 6%.
By 6%. Okay, yeah. But it's not a lot.
Yeah, I guess it's not. Well, maybe she didn't need to lie.
Yeah, maybe she needed to, but still.
Yeah. Well, the turnout was only 42%.
Yeah, it's really low.
Yeah.
I'm really sad. Have you ever seen the turnout of Scholar Commission's vote?
What's a Scholar Commission?
Yeah, it's something no one votes for. You actually, you know you have to pay taxes for schools.
Yeah.
Like for your property. You have to vote for the person who's gonna like tax you for that. But they say there's about 5 to 9% people only voting on that.
Jesus, that's quite low.
Yeah, it's super low. So the provincial government of Quebec wants to stop that. They're just gonna choose their own people because it's just useless.
Yeah, that's basically what's happening anyways. There's a few people that have control of it.
Because like I'm kind of right on that because it's not super useful. Like no one cares about it. So
what are they even voting on?
It's really your taxes. Like if you want a job or increase of taxes for education and stuff.
Okay.
And like even if people like say, yeah, I'm gonna like decrease your taxes, sometimes they don't even win because people just they don't care.
Yeah, makes sense.
But more people should be inclined to know more about politics. Oh, fun fact of Peru: you are obliged by law to vote. Otherwise, you'll get fined $500. Well, the equivalent of
so it's like Australia.
500 soles. Yeah, 500 soles. So it's almost $200.
Okay.
Alright. If I remember correctly, if you don't vote for 3 continuous elections, you will have problems when you ask for permits, your driver's license, and other stuff the governments give you.
Yeah, that's always something I've never been happy about. For example, in Australia, they do the same thing.
Mm-hmm. It's really bad because it makes the turnout great at 98%, but a lot of people just making an X, they don't care.
Yeah. It just seems like one of the freedoms of democracy should be the freedom to not vote.
Yeah.
Should be a negative freedom.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we should have positive thing like if you vote, we'll give you cake or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
A free donut like when you go give blood. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
It's really funny how we diverted the conversation from Bitcoin then to salaries of deputies. Then we're like mandatory voting.
Do you not listen to a lot of podcasts?
Not a lot, actually.
This is how they usually end up, especially with the 2D talking genre.
Yeah. It's really a bit hard to stay always on the same subject.
Yeah, but
because you actually run out of stuff to say on it.
Yeah, that's the way it works with most podcasts. It's just that you start on one topic, and before you know it, you're talking about a completely different topic.
Exactly.
Which
but
is the goal.
We have to admit, some people know how to do podcasters. For example, do you know what is... who's a crazy guy in the internet who always get angry and he's extremely conservative?
Which one? That you just described like 10 or 15 people.
On Fox News, right?
Oh, yes, of course.
It's not Rebel Media. It's a fat guy who always complains. He makes a lot of theories.
Oh, yeah, that guy. The Infowars guy.
Infowars, yeah, Infowars.
Alex Jones.
That guy I know how
Jones.
to keep Alex Jones. That's how you make a podcast.
Just yell about liberals for 20 minutes.
Yeah. And then talk about half an hour about a government who doesn't exist.
Then Sandy Hooks is a host.
Yep. And
it's a hoax to take our guns.
The liberal wants to take our guns, and Obama make your frogs gay.
Yes. Which is actually really funny, because I've seen videos where they try and dissect his claims. And apparently the making the frogs gay thing he said is based off an article which claimed that, because you've seen Jurassic Park, right? Some amphibians have their DNA in a weird way where they can change genders depending on the genders in the region they're in.
If they need more females or males.
Yes. Apparently there was pollution that was causing that to happen incorrectly. And he misinterpreted that to think they were making the frogs gay. Which is where that meme came from.
Oh well. But those kind of talks are the real fake news, and it's really sad that people voluntarily listen to that and give money to that. For example, I do not expect people to agree with everything we say, but in order to get your news, you have to listen to everybody. I don't like it a lot, but I go to Fox News and try to get their points.
Yeah.
It's extremely biased in my opinion, but it's another point of view that you have to admit a lot of people have, and you have to understand that. How is this affecting people? How is that point of view?
My problem right now has been that both sides seem to have these Fox News as echo chambers. You get the liberals with TYT, which used to be pretty good, but in recent years has been it just evolved into liberal Alex Jones and Infowars. Yeah. I remember in 2012 they were actually pretty good, and they just after 2014 they just stopped being good.
Yeah. For example, I love MSNBC news. For my opinion, it's the best news I can have. But the reality is that I know deep down it's a little bit of liberal propaganda.
Yeah.
Because it's not always the reality, it's what I want to hear. For example, right now they talk about how the Republicans will vote for the tax cut, and they will talk about almost all the time how they're not gonna manage to pass it.
Yeah.
And I want to hear that, but it's not always the truth.
They're definitely going to be able to pass it. They might not be able to pass the exact version they want, but they'll be able to pass something extremely similar.
Yeah, because there was the Florida conservatives.
It was the Alabama, right?
Sorry?
It was Alabama, the guy who won.
Yeah, the one who they lost. I can't believe they lost Alabama. Seriously, guys?
Yeah,
You lost... Republicans lost Alabama? What's next?
Just they're gonna lose in Texas.
Texas gonna vote for Hillary?
Yes.
Please. Come on. Get your things straight. But they said there was maybe Florida wasn't gonna vote for the tax cut, and Mark Rubio wasn't going to vote. That was MSNBC was saying on the subject. And the next day they were publicly saying, I'm gonna vote for it.
Yeah, at this point, they're just pulling in party discipline. The heads of the republics are saying, you're voting for this or you're out of the party. This is something they do in Canada a lot. In America, it's a little harder to do because the president and the party heads do not have as much power as they do in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
But normally the party heads can just say, we're calling in party discipline on this. No exceptions.
Mm-hmm. In Canada, yeah, it's something like every single law is expected to be on
every single law
party discipline. It's super rare that the prime minister will say, let's vote for this, and he doesn't get it from his own party.
Yes.
But there's advantage and disadvantage of that. It makes so that
can I just point out, it's
every time you have a cover... Sorry,
can I just point out, it's so rare in Canada that we have a name for when there's you don't have party discipline. It's called a free vote. Mm-hmm. And it's so rare that we actually need to put a name to it.
Yeah. But it's a good thing and a bad thing. That's what I'm saying. Peru also is more democratic than Canada, because in Peru the deputies go vote for what they expect to be better for the population, quotation marks, because vote for what they believe will make them richer for themselves. But what happens in Canada is that you always have a government, and a government who's doing something. That's the thing. It's a little bit less democratic, but you have not necessarily always the government you want, but you have a government who's doing something on matters that needs to be done. However, constitutional monarchies have the little problem called minority government, and that is the Achilles problem.
Yes.
When there's a minority government, Canada cannot agree on anything. It's just terrible.
Well, they just don't focus on anything big. Like, there's no big reforms.
Thing. They're gonna vote something on who wants to give free flags to veterans.
Yep.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. 2 years of useless law.
Yep, 2 years and then an early election.
Yep, because they know they cannot work on that.
Yep.
That's the Achilles problem of Canadian, but it happens really it's rare that when it happens. For Quebec, I think it only happened 3 or 4 times in its history.
Wait, what happened 3 or 4 times in its history?
Minority government.
Those. Wait, how can there be only 3 or 4 times?
I once heard that on the news.
I know there was one a couple of years ago with Pauline Marois.
Yeah. Let me just check.
I'm pretty sure there was more than that.
Yeah, maybe that was fake news. I don't know. That I like Radio Canada a lot, but you have to be careful with them too.
Yep. State news.
Although they like to bash on when there was Stephen Harper, they like to just talk shit about him.
So did most people.
But they still vote for him.
Yeah.
Where does it say Quebec? Okay, there was 1, 2, 3 actually.
There were 3?
One in 1878, one in 2007, and one in 2012.
I did not know that. I assumed there were more.
Yeah. Ontario actually had much more minority governments. In the federal level, it's much more common.
Interesting.
Yeah, Pierre Trudeau actually had a minority government once.
Yeah.
Well, not this one, his father.
His father, obviously.
Yeah. And Stephen Harper too had... that's why. Stephen Harper actually had 2 minority governments.
Yeah, the first 2. Because the first one was when the Liberals were the opposition. The second was when the NDP were the opposition.
I love that when the... No. When the NDP was the opposition, they had a majority.
That was majority, sorry. That was when they had the majority government.
I have to state it. I'm a strong supporter of the NDP.
Oh, I have my membership card right here.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna join to the NDP party. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, it was the 3rd minority government in the history of Quebec, the Pauline Marois thing.
I just assumed there was a lot of them, because it seems so common in the rest of Canada.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's the thing. The Liberal Party in Quebec, they got 70 deputies and they needed 60 to have a majority government.
Yeah.
But they only got 49% of the votes of Quebec.
Yeah, but still.
So most people didn't want them to be in power, but they had the power to impose their ideas. That's a good thing and a bad thing, because the good thing, you have an efficient government. The bad thing is not really representative.
Oh, absolutely. That's why Trudeau was so bashed for dropping his electoral reform promise.
Mm-hmm. But sincerely, I believe that having a government it's better than having the government you want without the power to do so.
My preferred type of electoral system would be the ranked voting.
Yeah, I wish a country other than Canada, because I want another country to try it first.
Oh, Australia has
if it doesn't result in civil war.
Australia has ranked voting.
Seriously?
Yeah, they do it very stupidly.
It's working well then.
Australia does stupidly. They have two options for ranked voting. Either rank every party, so what you have is you have a list of 50 parties to choose from, and you have to rank them, or you can just delegate your voting power to the party you're voting for.
Oh.
So say you want to vote for a Liberal Party. You'll vote for that party and just delegate your secondary voting to them. Or you can just sit there and rank all 50 parties. And if you don't rank all 50 of them, it's thrown out. It's a spoiled ballot.
Yeah.
So they do it stupidly.
No, that's just a bit dumb. It should be like the 3 major or 5 major parties. Yeah. Like 15 is way too much.
Yeah. It depends on how many parties are running in your area.
Yeah.
Because, some places have just a bunch of independents and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when I voted here, it was like there were 5 people. They were the Liberal Party, Conservative Party, NDP, Greens, and the Bloc Québécois.
Who actually only have 4 deputies?
Yeah, there's only 3 people who actually have a chance of winning this district, and the other 2 just didn't.
The Bloc Québécois, there was a joke, because it used to be a big party representing most of Quebec.
Yeah, they used to control Quebec.
Yeah. Today they always make the joke, oh, the party can fit in a Honda Civic.
That's not untrue. And the Green Party can sit in a clown car.
In a smart.
Yeah, in a smart car.
There are 2.
No, there's 1.
Ah, no, I thought there were 2. Oh, that's actually really sad.
Yeah, there's 1 member. And it's the leader.
It's the party leader. Although she wins every time.
Oh, absolutely. The people there love her. She's the Bernie Sanders of Canada.
Oh. And sometimes people make fake news about her, though. Like, I heard my sister saying, oh, the Green Party wants to make people only eat meat once a week. And you're like, where do you hear that? In Facebook. And I'm like, seriously? You're getting your news from Facebook?
Yeah, although she is way further left than me. Like, yeah. I follow her on Twitter, and she just tweets all this stuff that just super, almost communist-like. And you're just like, I am not in favor of any of this. Again, it goes back to the Canadians are not radicals mentality.
Yeah. It's weird because Canadians are careful. Like, they always will vote for rationality instead of, their feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then we're, in the progressive... people always voting in realistic choice. You said you follow on Twitter the Green Party.
Yeah,
and sometimes
I follow all the parties.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I don't have Twitter.
Yeah, it's just an easy way to keep up with stuff. In
Facebook, I actually have sassy communist memes, right? And it's really fun, but sometimes they push their communist ideas a little bit too much. I'm like, yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Do you hear the background noises?
A little bit.
Yeah, they're not gonna go away. There's some family kids. They're around.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be a mess. How long do you want it to be the podcast usually?
Thinking about an hour, which we're about an hour and 20 minutes in. So.
Yeah, we can do the conclusion a little bit.
Yeah.
And finish up. And if you would want to do another one, I'm really the holidays.
Yeah.
When do you say you're leaving though?
Tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Well, Miami, right?
Yeah, Miami. I'm going on a cruise.
Nice. You're so lucky. It's so nice, out there.
Yeah.
I remember when I went to Orlando. Wow, Orlando is so nice. It was so hot though. We walked for 2 blocks and we almost died. During summer, I was with my Peruvian cousins and we were saying, well, we can walk to the restaurants. It's not that bad. And I was like, yeah.
During the summer, it's really hot there.
Yeah. And in Montreal, sometimes it's 40 degrees. So I was like, yeah, I know what's heat. I can't walk that much. We almost died. Seriously. It's I was saying to myself, who built a city here?
Who built the city on this swamp?
I know, right?
Yeah.
And when you think about it, there were Spanish colonization there before the air conditioner era. How did they do that?
No,
How?
no idea. It's like, why would they build a city in the Canada? Just it was
Yeah,
so cold, and there was no actual oil heating or anything like that.
yeah. It's like, okay, I can understand the 13 colonies, but New France? Are you
Yes,
mad?
why would anyone agree to go here?
Leave it to the Indians. They're suffering already too much. But well, they managed to do it. Peru was actually a good place to colonize, but a bit too hilly though for big
Yeah,
economies. Like the good advantage of Canada was the St. Lawrence
yeah,
River.
because it was easy to
Like
transport
you can
stuff.
move things. Yeah. The United States, the Mississippi River was like the dream river they could have.
The Mississippi is the reason why America is so valuable. It's just
Yeah,
so cheap to transport things around.
and also I don't remember when I seen this, but for example, we heard about a lot of China, India, and Holland spending billions of dollars building massive ports,
Yeah,
right? For their economies, and you're like, oh, maybe we're getting behind. Like in the United States perspective, they're saying maybe we're getting behind those countries. They're gonna have bigger ports than us. But the thing is, like, United States don't need to build large ports. You know
why?
why? Because their eastern and southern shores usually have barrier islands.
Yes, that's why so many of the big ports in the United States are the biggest ports in the entire world.
Yeah, you don't have to build as much infrastructure as the nature already done it for them.
Yeah, Americans hit the jackpot with their country.
The British were just too dumb enough to let
Yeah,
it go.
in the southeastern United States, the big South. That's some of
Hmm.
the most valuable farmland in the entire world.
Yep. Plus, I might not agree on it, but they use GMOs and they like increase their production so much.
Yep. Do you want to do the conclusion, or should I?
No, I think because you started, you should finish.
Okay. Okay, everyone. Thanks for listening. I have been Matthew,
And Francisco,
and this has been episode 1 of our new podcast.
thank you very
Thank
much.
you for listening.
Yeah, that went well. And popularity is coming, man.